Seated here today on the 17th of April, Justice Manana, Provincial Secretary of the Young Communist League in KwaZulu-Natal, Moses Mabhida Province. We start off by stating that on the 23rd of April, there will be a People's March. And part of the demands of the People's March, the workers and civil society and the working class speaks to say hands off their pensions, a comprehensive social security for all, food subsidy for all, banks and financial institutions to serve the people, and the implementation of the NHI. What are your views on these demands, and what becomes the objective position of the Young Communist League?
I think firstly the main one is our support of the march is based on the fact that it's a people's march. It's becoming an increased traditional way of doing things, that we have particular people placed somewhere, whether in Pretoria or Cape Town, making decisions on behalf of the people. And with it being the month of Comrade Chris, and we obviously are more interested in it being a people's march, beginning to say that whatever has gone on in our history that has resulted in a situation where people are made decision for, that the movement can only survive if it takes the people along with it. And so we support that march in that spirit.
Though the focus on the march does speak to, for example, the implementation of the National Health Insurance Fund. From our understanding, the National Health Insurance Fund is a funding system that will assist in drawing pools of funds to ensure that the people do acquire health services, irrespective even of their socio-economical status. Now, in light of all of this, what then becomes the main objective in ensuring that funding for the NHI does not deepen or cut the pockets of the working class?
Yes. We are there. In fact, if you listen to my response on the first question, the issue is you taking the people with you, so that the people can be the ones custodians to make sure that there are no illicit dealings around their monies. We have seen part of the demands that we would be making along with the SACP and COSATU is to, this peddling that went on, this fiddling that went on with the pensioners' monies of the workers. That should not have happened without the permission and discussions with the workers themselves.
So you are speaking about the Tax Administration Amendment Act.
Yes.
So you are then stating that the consultation process was not fairly done to ensure that the pensioners of the workers are kept amongst what the workers' demands are.
It's our standing opinion that consultation did not take place. Okay. So if you are to consult workers and people and bring them to the fore of all decisions that need to be made, you would then not have that problem of us. Sorry.
So you then say that the consultation process, it either ends or it begins with the consultation process, or are you saying that the consultation process to speak to preference or consistency of the Act? Because if you are to speak about consultation, there is a person in KwaZulu-Natal that will depend on the pension fund to be able to build a house that he was unable to build a house. But equally, there's a person out there in KwaZulu-Natal that says that with his or her pension, she'll be able to receive a monthly income. Now, the consultation, does it speak to these preferences, or does it become a consistent act that everyone receives their lump sum?
If you consult me, I'm able to give you an indication as to what I prefer, as to how I prefer things to be done. For instance, we anticipate that had the consultation process taken place, you would have had a lot of workers saying, but you can't implement it without having dealt with social security for our well-beings. So the money that I have to use, whether to build a house, or if someone dies in the family, or I need to send someone to hospital, those issues need to be taken care of and put on the table as options that we need to look at. So if you are to fiddle with the method and the modalities of how I get my well-worked money, you must then be able to tell me what you are going to be giving me in terms of the things that are naturally required of me.
So, Comrade Manana.
So whether it's NHI, whether it's a comprehensive social security.
So Comrade Manana, you speak of it so individualistically that many of the workers are saying it is my money, it is my decision, it is my this and my that. What it does not, it's not giving us a socialist outlook on it. Why is it so individualistic? Because immediately a person can then decide, with my money I will open a company that in the long run will end up oppressing workers. Now, what becomes a socialist outlook on the Tax Administration Act?
You know what I was saying earlier on is very socialist. Before you can get a group of workers, we've got an individual worker. The system currently does not take credit or attention to that particular worker. What we are looking for, yes, is a collective of workers, but take consultation to all the workers, whether individually or in a group, but take consultation, which did not happen. And that's why you then take a situation on the basis that it favors one particular side and not the other side.
So in essence, can we agree or perhaps disagree that the working class generally, can you consider them conscious or unconscious? Because you currently have this new trend currently going out in the public of a lot of workers now moving out of these privatized banks, wanting to then subject themselves to a new financial schemes like your Triple M, your Captain this and that. Now, what do you feel that their move out of the private banks into these schemes becomes in line with what government has decided according to their monies? Or is it just an individualistic thinking on how they wish to invest their money? Is that also comes to say, is it a socialist move according to the workers to sustain their investment, or is it based on just an individualistic decision?
We must be careful not to we particularize issues and lose the essence of it. We're going through a very difficult economic climate. And as a result, people individually and in groups are going to act a particular way. You speak of your Triple M scheme and so forth. Those have come in at a very opportune time for them to, whether they exploit people's monies or whatsoever, but people are going through a difficult economic climate. What we are speaking of here is a situation where workers themselves, collectively, are not in charge of the pension funds that they save from their hard-earned work. And that money is utilized. You speak of one person opening a business. What are you saying about people that borrow from that fund and actually end up building malls, for instance? So we need to be careful not to isolate workers and still utilize socialist and so forth ideas. The money is for the workers. It is from the work and earned by workers. And therefore, it needs to be decided on what happens to it by workers themselves. That's the essence of it.
As the Young Communist League of KZN, what is your message to the young people out there, the workers out there, on the People's March and their demands? And what are you resolving on as the Young Communist League when it comes to all of these demands?
Look, like we were saying earlier on, the time has come for us to participate in things that in decision making that is about us
as young people.
We've begun to see it in terms of the activities of last year in terms of education and so forth.
Yes.
We need to actually encourage young people to participate even further, to make sure that they become part of the process. They become part of building a future that they themselves want to see. Now we're saying this march then is a beginning of that. It's a beginning of saying no decision about me must be made without me. And therefore, let's bring our people to the fore. Let's take them along with us so that in decision making, we have the people's blessing.
As a young person, obviously, you are on Facebook. Yes. You are on Twitter. So what are you saying to young people there?
What am I saying to young people there? I'm saying to young people that hands off our money.